Don't Look now wasn't just another psychological horror thriller. It was a film that nearly got banned. A movie where the line between fiction and real life got so blurry that audiences didn't know what they were watching anymore. There's a love scene in this film that sparked a 40-year debate, rumors that still haven't died, and an ending so disturbing that test audiences walked out in silence. The studio knew they had something dangerous on their hands, and they tried to bury parts of it. These are 12 creepy facts about Don't Look Now, and hidden in them is the shocking truth that what you see on screen might be more real than anyone ever admitted. Number 1. Director Nicolas Roeg shot the film in Venice during the dead of winter, not summer. Winter. The canals were freezing. The stone walls dripped with moisture. Fog rolled through every morning like something alive. Roeg wanted that. He needed the city to feel like it was dying. But here's the problem. The crew wasn't prepared. Reports say that equipment kept failing in the cold. Actors shivered between takes. Julie Christie later described the shoot as physically brutal. Venice in winter isn't romantic. It's hostile. The damp gets into your bones. And Roeg captured every bit of that misery on film. You feel cold watching this movie. That's not an accident. That was suffering. And it gets darker from here. Number 2. The opening drowning scene took days to film. Days. For a sequence that runs just minutes. The little girl in the red coat had to fall into that pond over and over. The water was murky. The crew built a special rig to pull her under safely. But something went wrong during one take. According to production accounts, the young actress surfaced disoriented and crying. Filming stopped. Roeg was rattled. The scene you see in the final cut has a rawness to it. A desperation. Donald Sutherland's panic when he pulls that small body from the water. Some say he wasn't entirely acting. The terror was bleeding through, and what came next almost destroyed the film entirely. Number 3. The love scene. You've heard about it. Everyone has. For 50 years, people have asked the same question. Was it real? Here's what we know. The scene runs over 5 minutes. It's intimate in a way films just didn't show in 1973. The editing intercuts the passion with the couple getting dressed afterward. It's disorienting, beautiful, and deeply uncomfortable to watch. Rumors exploded immediately. Tabloids claimed Sutherland and Christie weren't faking. Both actors denied it. Roeg denied it, but the whispers never stopped. Why? Because the footage looks too authentic, too vulnerable. The camera lingers in places it shouldn't, and the studio panicked. Number 4. The MPAA wanted that scene cut, completely removed. Roeg refused. What followed was a brutal ratings battle that nearly killed the American release. The board slapped the film with an X rating. In 1973, that was a death sentence for mainstream theaters. Studios scrambled. They made trims, tiny ones, just enough to scrape an R rating. But here's the creepy part. The uncut version circulated anyway, in Europe, in private screenings. Some theaters showed it without the studio knowing. 2 versions of the same film existed, one sanitized, one raw, and audiences argued about which one they'd actually seen. That confusion was intentional. Number 5. Nicolas Roeg edited the film himself. That's unusual. Directors usually hand footage to editors, but Roeg locked himself away with the reels. He cut scenes out of order. He fractured time. Moments from the future appear before they happen. You see glimpses of the ending hidden in the first act. Critics called it revolutionary, but the studio called it confusing. They demanded a more linear cut, a version that made sense. Roeg said no. He threatened to walk. Reports say the arguments got loud, doors slammed, and somewhere in a vault, an alternate cut supposedly exists, one that tells the story straight. It's never been released. Makes you wonder why. Number 6. The red coat. It's everywhere in this film. The drowned daughter wears it. The mysterious figure in Venice wears it. Roeg made the prop team create multiple identical coats in different sizes. Why? Because he knew the color would haunt viewers. Every flash of red becomes a warning, a memory, a threat. The crew dyed the fabric themselves. They tested it under different lights until it looked like blood. That's not a metaphor. That was the goal. And here's the creepy detail. One of those coats went missing from the set. It was never found. Some crew members joked the film was cursed. They weren't entirely joking. Number 7. Donald Sutherland almost didn't take the role. He read the script and said no. Too dark. Too strange. He didn't understand what Roeg was trying to do. It took weeks of convincing. Personal meetings. Long phone calls. Sutherland finally agreed after Roeg showed him storyboards of the editing style. He realized this wasn't a normal horror film. It was something experimental, something that had never been done. But even after signing on, Sutherland struggled. The role demanded emotional nakedness. He had to grieve on camera. Really grieve. Reports say he broke down multiple times during filming. The performance cost him something real. Number 8. Julie Christie fought with the studio over her contract. She wanted more creative control. They refused. Tensions ran high before cameras even rolled. On set, she and Sutherland became allies against what they saw as studio interference. They protected each other during the more vulnerable scenes. But Christie also clashed with Roeg. She questioned his methods, his obsessive retakes, his refusal to explain what he wanted. Some accounts say she nearly quit halfway through. She stayed. Barely. And what she delivered became one of the most emotionally devastating performances of the decade. Number 9. The Venice locations almost fell apart. Roeg wanted to film inside real churches, ancient ones. The local authorities said no. They feared the production would damage centuries-old architecture. Roeg begged. He offered money. He made promises. Finally, one church agreed, but only for 3 days. Crew worked 20-hour shifts, lights rigged in freezing sanctuaries, cables snaking across stone floors that hadn't been walked on in years. The pressure was immense, and on the final night, something shattered, a piece of antique glass. Production accounts say Roeg turned pale. He thought they'd be sued. They weren't. But the tension left a mark. Number 10. The ending was kept secret from almost everyone. The script circulated with fake pages. Crew members didn't know what they were filming. Even some actors weren't told the full truth until the day they shot their scenes. Why the paranoia? Because Roeg knew the twist would only work once. If it leaked, the film would lose its power. The final revelation, that red-coated figure turning around, had to land cold. And it did. Test audiences gasped. Some screamed. Others sat in stunned silence as the credits rolled. That reaction was exactly what Roeg wanted. Pure shock. Number 11. The film flopped in America. At first, critics didn't know what to make of it. Audiences expected a traditional horror movie and got something stranger, something slower, something that crawled under your skin instead of jumping out. Box office numbers disappointed the studio. They blamed the rating, the editing, the controversy. But in Europe, it was a different story. The film found its audience. Then slowly, Americans caught up. Midnight screenings, film school discussions, home video releases. By the 1980s, it was called a masterpiece. The studio that almost buried it started taking credit. Number 12. There's a longer cut out there, somewhere. Multiple sources have mentioned it over the years. Scenes that were filmed but never included. Extended sequences in Venice, more footage of the psychic sisters, a different version of the drowning scene. Some say it runs 15 minutes longer than the theatrical release. Others say it's just fragments, unfinished. Roeg never confirmed what existed. He deflected every question, and when he passed away in 2018, whatever he knew went with him. The full truth might still be locked away, waiting. Don't Look Now became a legend because it almost didn't survive. The freezing locations, the ratings battle, the secrecy, the rumors that never stopped. Everything about this production was a fight against the studio, against the censors, against logic itself. And somehow, out of all that chaos, Nicolas Roeg created something that still disturbs people 50 years later. That's not luck. That's obsession. That's a director who refused to compromise, even when it nearly cost him everything. The film you watch today is a survivor, and the pieces that got lost along the way, they're still out there, buried in some vault, waiting to be found. Thanks for watching. Hit like, drop a comment with your favorite fact, and subscribe for more creepy movie secrets.